Imagine being forced to choose between the life of the person you love most and your absolute unbending sense of honor. Like, what would you actually do?
I mean, it is the ultimate impossible choice, really. One that basically forces you to decide what it actually means to be human.
Yeah, exactly. Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. If you are joining us on the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, thank you so much for being here. Please do take a quick second to subscribe, hit that like button, and, share your valuable thoughts in the comments. It really helps support our mission of bringing these classic pieces of literature to life.
It really does. And today we have a fascinating one.
We really do. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a concept so intense, so deeply ingrained in the human psyche, that it completely defies modern logic. We're looking at Munshi Premchand's legendary story, Rani Saranda. It's from his famous Mansarovar collection.
Right. And, Premchand isn't just telling some historical adventure story here. He is acting as almost a social anatomist. He's dissecting this intense Bundela concept of Maryada.
Maryada.
Yeah. Which loosely translates to honor or pride or dignity. But as we're going to see, those English translations do not even begin to capture the terrifying weight of the concept in this culture.
Oh, for sure. So, to set the stage for you, we are looking at the rugged, unforgiving terrains of Bundelkhand in India. You've got to picture a landscape that is just arid and rocky. It's a place where the geography itself practically breeds resilience.
Exactly. When the land gives you absolutely nothing, your word, your reputation, your honor, that becomes your only tangible asset. That geographical context is just so vital.
Yeah.
This isn't just a physical location. It's a cultural ecosystem. We're talking 17th century Bundelkhand, where history, personal pride, and bloodshed are inextricably linked.
Right, like honor isn't a luxury you think about after your basic needs are met.
No, not at all. It is the very foundation of your survival. It's the structural integrity of the entire society.
And Premchand establishes that brutal reality literally on page 1.
He really does.
The story opens on this incredibly atmospheric, dark, stormy night. It's right by the banks of the Dasan River, and this warrior named Aniruddh is returning to his fort. But he isn't returning in glory.
No, he's defeated.
Defeated! He's soaking wet, he's lost his weapons, and worst of all, he has lost his men. And when he walks through the doors, we get this profound study in contrasting psychologies between the two women in his life.
Right, you have his wife, Shitala, and his sister, Saranda.
Yeah. And his wife, Shitala, she has the reaction that, like, you or I would probably have. She is just profoundly, deeply relieved that her husband is breathing.
Exactly. The battle is lost, but the man is alive.
Right. But his sister, Saranda, has a reaction that is fundamentally alien to the modern mind. She is utterly disgusted that he survived a defeat. She looks at him not as a surviving brother, but as a walking disgrace.
She essentially views his physical survival as a spiritual and moral failure.
Wow.
To her, a warrior returning without his men or without a victory, he just shouldn't be returning at all.
Which leads to this brutal, defining exchange between the two women. Shitala, the relieved wife, she mocks Saranda's rigid sense of honor. She looks at her sister-in-law and says, if he were your husband, you would hide him in your heart.
And Saranda doesn't even miss a beat.
No, she doesn't. She delivers this chilling report. She says, no, I would plunge a dagger into his chest.
It's so intense.
It is. And Shitala simply tells her to remember those words. Okay, let's unpack this because I am honestly struggling to wrap my head around this.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. Like, think of a modern analogy. It's like a disgraced CEO or a fallen athlete coming home. Most families would just be glad they survived the scandal, right? They'd close ranks and support them. But Saranda treats survival and defeat as the ultimate betrayal. From a modern evolutionary standpoint, staying alive is hardwired into our DNA. Was this level of pride actually normal for the era?
What's fascinating here is that to answer that, you have to step entirely out of our modern framework of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Think about how a feudal martial society functions. Maryada, that honor, isn't just a warm internal feeling of self-worth.
Right.
It's a highly regulated social currency. If a warrior runs from battle and survives, he doesn't just save his own life. He signals to neighboring kingdoms that his clan is vulnerable.
Ah, I see.
He breaks the psychological deterrent that keeps his people safe.
So it's not just about him, it's about the collective security of the entire community.
Precisely. In this ethos, a life lived without honor is considered a contamination of the entire lineage. If cowardice is tolerated, the society collapses from the outside in.
Wow. So when Saranda makes that vow saying she would plunge a dagger into her defeated husband's chest, she isn't just being dramatic for the sake of an argument.
No, she is stating a core philosophical law of her universe. And mathematically, from a storytelling perspective, that vow sets a ticking time bomb for the rest of the narrative.
Oh, absolutely. You just know that statement is going to come back to haunt her. But, before that bomb goes off, time passes, and Saranda's ideology is put through a series of extreme tests. First off, her brother Aniruddh actually redeems himself in battle later.
Proving that the culture does allow for the restoration of honor.
Right, and Saranda, she gets exactly what she wants in life. She marries Raja Champat Rai.
Who is the ultimate, quintessential symbol of Bundela pride. For a woman obsessed with Maryada, this is the perfect match.
It seems like it. But then the political tides shift dramatically. Champat Rai finds himself in a position where he ends up submitting to the massive power of the Mughal Emperor. This is during the era of Shah Jahan and Darishikoh.
Right, the geopolitical reality forces his hand.
Exactly. And in return for laying down his arms, Champat Rai is gifted the Kelpi Jagir, or estate. And this isn't just a piece of land. It is an incredibly wealthy estate with an income of 9 lakhs.
And just to put that in perspective, 9 lakhs in that era is an astronomical sum.
Right.
It buys absolute, unquestionable opulence. They are surrounded by a level of luxury that completely insulates them from the harsh realities of Bundelkhand.
And this is where we see the first real conflict for her. The Raja starts indulging in this luxury. His other queens are rejoicing. But Saranda falls into a deep depression.
Yeah, she is utterly miserable.
And when Champat Rai asks her why, she points out a bitter truth. She tells him that back in Orcha, she was an independent queen. Here, she is merely the wife of a servant to the emperor.
The wealth means absolutely nothing to her because the sovereignty is gone.
But I have to push back on her mindset here. Like, wait, they are incredibly rich. They are living in a literal palace and there is peace. Nobody is dying.
Right.
Isn't a golden cage still made of gold? Why throw away comfort for a prideful struggle?
Well, because you and I view comfort as security. But as you listen to this, try to understand how Saranda views it. She views that specific comfort as a poison to the soul. Yeah. She awakens her husband's dormant pride because she sees him turning into a subordinate. The transition is triggered in a very specific way. She gives him the beetle leaf of war.
Wait, she hands him a leaf.
Yes, but in this martial context, handing over and accepting the petanen is a legally and spiritually binding ritual. It means you are vowing to fight until victory or death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She sends her own sons, including Chhatrasal, into the fray, and she tells her husband, the honor of Bundelis is in your hands.
So she actively torches the golden cage.
Completely.
Which leads us to the second massive test, and this one is about the extreme lengths of her pride. The rebellion begins, and the story details an incident over a captured horse.
The horse incident is crucial.
Yeah. Saranda claims this beautiful horse in battle that originally belonged to a Mughal noble, Wali Bahadur Khan. But later, Wali Khan's men steal it back from Saranda's young son, Chhatrasal.
And she is furious.
Furious, but not that the horse was taken. She's furious that her son returned alive without it. So she goes straight to the emperor's court, which is now Alamgir, or Aurangzeb, and demands her horse. The emperor tries to buy her off. He offers her immense wealth, jewels, entire stables of horses in exchange.
He's trying to de-escalate.
Right, but she refuses. So the emperor eventually threatens to strip away her entire state in Jagir if she doesn't drop the issue. And Saranda, she chooses to lose everything for the horse. She states she is doing it for her Alanian, her pride.
She rejects an empire's wealth for a single animal.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this is like a billionaire voluntarily bankrupting their entire company just to fight a $50 parking ticket on principle. It completely defies all logic.
It does seem absurd, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to understand that to Saranda, the horse isn't an animal anymore.
What is it then?
It's a test of sovereignty. Yielding to the emperor's demand, even for a massive payout, would mean admitting subservience. It's like a sovereign nation's global credit rating. If you accept compensation from the emperor, you're legally acknowledging that he has the supreme authority to take what is yours.
Oh, I see. By taking the jewels, she admits she's a subject.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Her sovereign credit rating would drop to 0. She willingly accepts financial ruin to keep her psychological sovereignty intact.
That is just, it's heavy. And the ruin she invites brings us to the ultimate sacrifice. The narrative shifts back to Orcha. Champat Rai is besieged by Mughal forces, and he is gravely ill.
His body is failing him.
Right, but he refuses to abandon his loyal subjects to the enemy's wrath. Saranda realizes they have to escape, but Champat Rai will only leave if the safety of his people is guaranteed. So Saranda sends a negotiator to the Mughal commander to secure a promise of safety.
And she gets it.
She gets it. But when Champat Rai asks what she had to give up to get that promise, she reveals the devastating cost. She handed over their brilliant, beloved young son, Chhatrasal, to the enemy.
As a hostage.
Yeah. And Champat Rai faints from the sheer shock. Now, we have to ask, is she a hero or is she just a zealot? She sacrificed her own son. Like, how does a mother make that calculation?
That profound discomfort
Yeah.
is what makes Premchand a master. He doesn't paint Saranda as a simple villain or a saint.
Right.
She is a tragic figure trapped by her own absolute ideology. She genuinely believes she is giving her son to the altar of Bundelkhand pride.
It's terrifying clarity.
It really is.
Which sets the stage perfectly for the climax. It's a dark, rainy night, mirroring the very first scene of the story. Saranda is carrying the incapacitated Champat Rai in a palanquin through a secret route.
Trying to slip through the siege lines.
Right, but they're intercepted by Mughal cavalry. Champat Rai tries to fight, but he's too weak and his men fall, and he knows he is about to be captured and paraded in chains in Delhi.
The ultimate humiliation.
Yes. So he asks Saranda for one final favor. He commands her to plunge her sword into his chest.
He's begging for a warrior's death.
And Saranda is horrified. But the memory of her vow to Shitala years ago, it echoes in the night. To save him from the humiliation of capture, she drives her sword into her husband's heart.
The physical act is so jarring that the stunned Mughal soldiers actually back away.
Yeah. She asks them to give the bodies to her sons, and then she stabs herself, dying on her husband's chest. So what does this all mean? The incredible, tragic symmetry of this story is just... it's wild. The hypothetical boast she made to her sister-in-law in the very first scene became her unavoidable, heartbreaking destiny.
And this raises an important question about the ultimate cost of Maryada.
Yeah.
Premchand ends the story noting it as a tragic end to self-pride, leaving the reader breathless at the sheer willpower of this woman who became the executioner of the man she loved most, just to preserve his dignity.
It's an intense journey. We've watched Rani Saranda go from a proud sister to a tragic executioner in the mud, and it really asks you to reflect on modern definitions of honor and compromise. Sometimes the things we refuse to bend on end up breaking us.
They absolutely do.
Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. If you're on the Simplified Summary channel, please humbly remember to subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment with your thoughts on Saranda's extreme choices. We'd love to hear from you.
And as we close out, I want to leave you with a lingering thought to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
If Rani Saranda lived today, would society view her as a terrifying extremist trapped by toxic pride, or as the ultimate, unyielding symbol of pure integrity? Where is the line between preserving your honor and destroying your humanity?
Imagine being forced to choose between the life of the person you love most and your absolute, unbending sense of honor. What would you do?